I can tell you that I would have to believe with my law enforcement experience that law enforcement is not ruling anything out at this point, nor would I rule anything out at this point.
Right now, investigators are searching for answers in the disappearance of a 39-year-old personal trainer who was last seen leaving a South Carolina gym. And as the search intensifies, a big question remains unanswered. What happened in the moments before she went missing? I just spoke to a private investigator who is on this case, on the ground, who is working to try and solve this mystery. What the people who saw Elena last told him. We're on the case presented by Law&Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Right now, the search for Elena Moore is getting a lot of attention because the people who know her say it is just so out of character for her to vanish like this. And I just talked to a private investigator who was brought into this case by friends of Elena Moore. And these friends, as you can imagine, are very concerned. So let's get into it. Here's a picture of Elena Moore. She's 39 years old, and she's a personal trainer in Lexington, South Carolina. That's a suburb of the capital of South Carolina, Columbia. Now, Moore is someone who it appears really lives to help people get strong, healthier, and just better. You look at these videos that we found on her social media as she is working as a personal trainer. According to her Facebook, she worked at a gym called Wolf's Fitness in Lexington. And from all the comments that we're seeing on social media, she is someone who has a lot of friends, a lot of supporters, and now a lot of people who are concerned about where she may be. As far as her personal life is concerned, she is married to someone who we're not naming publicly. We did talk to that person today, though. They said that police have advised them not to make comments to the media, but when allowed, he would be interested in speaking to us in the future. And he is the person who reported Elena missing one day after she was last seen. So here is what we know about when Elena was last seen. Police say on Thursday, June 11th, she left the gym where she worked. She then went to a CVS. And then after that, she went to Planet Fitness. And that Planet Fitness, we were told by this PI, is like a half mile away. Her membership shows she checks into the gym around 6:40 in the evening. Then she checks out around 8:30 that night. And this is a picture police have put out of her at the check-in desk at Planet Fitness. Now, police have said they don't yet know if this is a case of foul play. They haven't ruled it out either, and they haven't said whether they believe that Elena is in imminent danger. Now, there is a lot of concern and frustration, it appears, about this case, just from what we're seeing in social media comments, because it has been several days, and yet there is not a lot of information or clues that we know about publicly about what may have happened to Elena or where she may have gone. So I want to show you that picture once again of her at the check-in desk at Planet Fitness. And as we zoom in on it, you can just see what she was wearing when she was last seen, that olive-colored zip-up sweatshirt. It appears she has black leggings on. And it also appears that she has a purse with her and a water bottle. So Moore was first reported missing on Friday, June 12th, the morning the next day after she was last seen. And again, it was her husband who reported her missing to police because he hadn't heard from her. Now, what Moore specifically did right after leaving the gym is a major part of this story. So this is the map where the Planet Fitness is located in Lexington. Police say after she left the gym, she walked into a wooded area behind that building and behind the Lowe's Home Improvement store that's right next to it. Police say they put up a drone in that area. They've done a grid search. They did a preliminary search, and there just has been no sign of Elena. Now, as we pull up that Google Maps image, there are a couple things that stand out. The first is we're not talking about a rural wooded area. In fact, right behind that Lowe's is the Columbia, South Carolina office of the FBI. And you can also see through that area are residential neighborhoods. Now, we did look up her address, and it is in the direction where she potentially was walking, but it also would probably be, according to Google, like a 2-hour walk to get home. Authorities say there is no known vehicle in her possession. Police told WLTX television that Elena's husband found her car on Friday. It is unclear where that car was located. Now, police were behind the Planet Fitness on Monday for hours. They were looking for clues related to where Elena may be. And police did point out that as they were doing a search of that wooded area, that, quote, this was not a recovery operation, but rather a precise effort to rule out one less place Miss Moore could be. So here's the missing persons poster put out by police for Elena Moore. She's 5'7". She stands roughly 120 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes. It is unclear if she has a cell phone in her possession. And remember, she did have her purse when she was last seen at Planet Fitness. We don't know where that is either. Anyone with information on Elena Moore should contact police in Lexington, South Carolina. The number to call, 803-358-7271. There is also an email, asantoro@lexsc.gov. Joining us now to talk more about this case, private investigator Henry Dukes, who is working this case. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. We're recording this just about 4:30 Eastern time on Tuesday. What can you tell us on the latest on the search for Elena Moore?
At this point, there's nothing really more to tell other than there's been an active 3-day ground search that's been taking place.
And how did you get involved in this search from the private investigator side of things?
I was asked to get involved by family and mutual friends of Miss Moore.
What can you tell us about the final steps that we know about as far as where she was before she went missing?
Okay, I mean, the way we can put it is our investigation is totally different from the law enforcement aspect. Understand that. Because we're private investigators, we are investigating strictly as a missing person. We're not ruling out anything as far as what could have happened, maybe happened, or anything like that. But one of the facts we know is that she was at the CVS pharmacy on Sunset Boulevard in Lexington, South Carolina. From there, the next time she was seen, she was at Planet Fitness, which is approximately maybe half a mile, 3/4 of a mile from the CVS, was where she was seen next, at the Planet Fitness. From that point, she left the Planet Fitness and was heading in the direction of a wooded area. The best way I describe it is she walks out the front door, she would be going toward the left.
And that was around 8, police had said it was around 8:40 at night on Thursday of last week was the last time she was seen?
I think approximately that time, yes. Maybe a little bit earlier.
How did she get from the CVS to the Planet Fitness?
I have no idea other than we would have to believe at this point she was walking.
So has it been confirmed that she did not drive to the Planet Fitness that night?
Yes.
Based on what friends have told you about Elena Moore, was she, I guess, how did she typically get around town?
She had a vehicle. I mean, she would use.
Her vehicle, how was that located?
I am not at liberty to discuss that in any fashion. That's not part of, that was something, the vehicle concern was prior to her becoming missing.
Now, as far as is that the vehicle concern, just her being separated from the vehicle, you're saying?
Correct.
And as far as I know, it is not believed that she has a cell phone on her. What have friends told you? And I know I see her social media. She was a personal trainer. She markets herself to clients, often using social media. What have her friends, her family told you? I guess their reaction to the fact that it doesn't appear that she has a cell phone.
It's unusual, but at this point, we can't confirm that she does or doesn't. I mean, I can take and speak on the fact that her phone is not accepting calls at this time.
Police have said that her husband is the person who reported her missing the following day. What do you know about what happened? At what point that he decided that something was wrong and apparently needed to contact police?
He hadn't had any contact with his wife. It was the reason he felt it necessary to file the missing person report. He was concerned about her.
When was the last time he saw her?
That I can't answer to that. I mean, I don't have that information because, again, our investigation part does, kind of pick up from the CVS where we know that she was there and then down to the Planet Fitness. And from the Planet Fitness, we're open to any options.
At this point, is there any indication that there's any potential for foul play in what happened to Elena Moore?
I can't take an answer to that. I can tell you that I would have to believe, with my law enforcement experience, that law enforcement is not ruling anything out at this point, nor would I rule anything out at this point until she is located, and hopefully she's located safe and sound.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what everyone is hoping for. What have friends told you about her marriage? How would they characterize it?
Everybody's pretty much characterizing it as they weren't having problems with their marriage. Okay, I'm not aware of any, nor have I been told of any. You know, they, even when you look on social media, you can see that they were doing stuff together. They were involved. Like you said, she was a personal trainer. She was an individual that was fit.
What have they told you about just her life in general, and who she was and what was going on?
I mean, she was a very liked individual. That's one thing that I get commonly told by most everybody. That's one thing that they're saying about her.
When it comes to, I guess, the search that is going on right now, it seems that if she leaves the back of the Planet Fitness, she goes into this wooded area. But I mean, you live in the area. It doesn't seem like we're talking about a vast forest where she went. It seems like there's a lot of neighborhoods not too far from where that Planet Fitness is located.
No, it's not. There's a lot of subdivisions throughout the whole area, and that's the reason that I immediately yesterday put up on Facebook and other social media outlets in reference to asking everybody, check your video cameras, check your ring cameras. We're looking for any footage that had possibly spotted or picked her up walking through those subdivisions, because, you know, my experience in law enforcement with some of the areas that we went into over the last couple of days, you know, searching, it was not an area that if there was a road to walk on, a paved road or sidewalk, I would be using it. Again, you have to understand, we don't believe there was any reason that she would be trying to conceal herself into the woods. So there would nothing lead me to believe that she wasn't walking down the road, you know, walking in the subdivision, which if you left out of Planet Fitness and you turn left going out of their door, you're going to come up on a road. And then if you go one direction, you would go into the subdivision where you would be walking, you know, through a subdivision, which would eventually come out on a major highway.
Like, how walkable is that area? Because I know they say it's wooded and you kind of look at it. I mean, is this a spot that people are typically going through?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it people are out there walking all the time from the neighborhood. It's not, there's sidewalks, there's, you know, shoulders that are well maintained. I mean, it's in the city limits of Lexington. So it's maintained. It's a populated area. It's not a, there's a lot of cars moving around. That's another reason that I have stressed with people that if she was out, you know, walking in the area, I feel like that, you know, people would look at her and go, hey, you know, and would call in a tip and say something.
What have friends said just about her mental state and what may have been going on in her life?
I am not, honestly, I cannot talk about that part in any fashion. That's not something that I'm at the liberty to discuss.
But has she been like, has she done anything like this ever before, according to people who you've spoken with?
Not that I'm aware of. There is no instance where she's been missing before.
I know police said that they put a drone up over this area. I think yesterday they searched that area for hours. You have a vast experience. You have vast experience when it comes to not only just being a private investigator, but you worked in law enforcement. I mean, at this point, I guess, where is your head at, knowing that, you know, it's been 3 days and at least according to police, there's literally no sign of Elena Moore?
Well, basically, we started a couple days ago in a actual grid searching of the area behind the Planet Fitness and also down from another shopping area, and, you know, working the wooded areas out and basically gridding them. Now, law enforcement, there was a large presence of law enforcement yesterday who was assisting and also searching the area also, and there was more area to cover where, again, you can't get it all done in 12 hours of daylight. Okay, so I guess if you're asking where the head's at, is where my head's at is to continue the search, and the way I have been doing it is in a direction toward her home.
Because, and I'm not giving out her address, but if from what I can see just on, looking at maps, if you leave and go through the back of that Planet Fitness, you would be headed in the direction to where she lived.
Yes, sir. We would.
Have friends, was she a regular walker around town? Is that, I mean, I know she's like a fitness person, so, people obviously like getting their steps in, but was it out of character for her to be kind of walking as a way to get home and around town?
I would take and not call it out of character, but she is definitely somebody who works out a lot. So as far as walking, I think that was a general practice for her to do. I mean, she frequent the walking trails in the general area. Some of them, if you've looked at the overview across the dam, you've got Saluda Shoals Park, where there's walking trails. There's walking at the dam. The whole crossing of the dam is a 2-mile walk, just the dam facility itself. So as far as saying that it was unusual for her to be walking, I would not call that unusual.
Has she walked home from this Planet Fitness before?
I cannot. I have no knowledge of that. That is not a question that I have asked.
Have you spoken to? And I know there's the image that everyone's seen of her at the Planet Fitness that police put out. They also said that, as we've been talking about, she was at the CVS. What if people who are some of the last to interact with her said to you about anything related to what was kind of their recollection of what she was like that day?
I mean, the people I've talked to, the main thing that we've interviewed them in reference to, did she say where she was going? Information like that. We really didn't get into, that aspect. That's more of the side of what law enforcement would handle.
What did those people tell you?
Just simply that, the biggest thing they said was when she left the facility, she went out the front door and she went toward the left.
And she went towards the left. But as far as, and this may again draw into the law enforcement side of it, but in terms of, it didn't seem like she was, they didn't characterize as if there was something seemingly wrong to them, like when she left.
No, sir. No.
And then Henry, I know you're offering a reward for information on this case. What do people need to know about that?
Well, we're offering a $1,500 reward at this current time. That's how much we have out for any information that leads us to the location of Miss Moore. I also, any tips that are given to me directly will be forwarded directly to law enforcement. We are not one that takes a tip that comes in. If somebody called in and said they knew where she was at, we would not go out and handle that. We would let law enforcement handle it. Our main purpose is to get the information out to people. We're asking that they keep, sharing it, keep talking to people. And again, the biggest thing I stress is check your video around that date, okay? The June 11th date, even the June 12th date. I mean, I'm okay with, hey, we could just check it from June the 11th to current. If we could see her on a camera, I would be, blessed to get that information. And again, if for some reason people want to send a tip through me, that's fine. They can use my email. They can use my phone number. They can contact me through social media anyway. And that any tip or information that's provided to me, that I'm not trying to cut law enforcement out of it in any fashion, that information will be forwarded, as we have been doing, to law enforcement.
And I know you've been chasing a lot of leads. What's your next steps as far as what your investigation looks like? What are you going to do next in this case?
Continue the grid search all the way out to the residence. I can't say it any other way. That's my objective right now, is trying to guess the pattern of travel that she would take and covering that extensively.
All right, Henry Dukes, private investigator, working to help find Elena Moore. Thank you for taking your time to be with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Again, anyone with information on where Elena Moore may be, contact the Lexington, South Carolina Police Department at 803-358-7271 or asantoro@lexsc.gov. That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law&Crime. Subscribe to us on YouTube and Spotify, and we are also now streaming on Peacock. I'm Chris Stewart. We'll see you next time.